So I'm going to talk with you guys about the Land Resilience Partnership, and it is something that Regina and I have developed over, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now. It's been a while. And so that is my plan for a few minutes. And then I think we're going to open it up and get some feedback and some questions and dive a little deeper. But I did put a few slides together just so I have something to run off of. So I don't know if those are ready. Good. Okay. So the project itself started out of a grant that our Resource Conservation District got through our local IRWM. We're in the Tuolumne Stanislaus IRWM. You are in, if you're here with us local, the Tuolumne watershed. And so this is our local IRWM, and it was proposition funding out of Proposition 84. And it originally started out as a grant ask to do just conservation practices during the first drought. And well, not first drought, but one of the more recent droughts. And it had like toilet rebates and shower heads and, washing machines and that kind of stuff. It was very generic. We had originally put it together like super spur of the moment with a bunch of the water districts here. And when it takes a while to get your grant contract, and in that amount of time, we had talked, and it was like, this really is maybe not what is a good fit for us. Like, yeah, in the short term, this is something that feels like, okay, we've done something, we've addressed the drought, but in the long term, did we really do any education? Did we really help people feel more secure in their water and in their natural resources? And so I naturally started talking to Regina, and I said, let's just ask to change it. And so DWR graciously let us start making edits. And we just, over a couple of years, developed this program, the Land Resilience Partnership. And it's been wonderful. It's taken a little bit to get off the ground and to work out kinks, but that's good. And the goal was to develop a program that could be implemented and wasn't just a grant program, that it had grant funding and it could take in other kinds of funding, but that it had a structure that helped us partner with an individual in our watershed and help educate them, help guide them in what they'd like to do on their property, and help offer them funding if we could find it. And so I think my second slide, because I can't see them, so I'm not sure what slide I'm on. There it is. All right. So this is our this is our outline. So right now, as we've come to have the Land Resilience Partnership, we work with individuals in our community. We go out, we do an assessment, and the assessment is really like, what do you want to do? And for a lot of folks, it's easy to say like, okay, I want to replace a shower head because that's like an obvious thing that helps with some water savings, but it's really not, it's not the whole thing that you could do. And so we try to help have a conversation with them about like, what could you do? Have you thought about your landscaping? Have you thought about where your water is coming from? Have you thought about how much water? Have you thought about the size of your house? What are your opportunities? Like, how much roof space do you have? Where is your laundry located in your home? And so we have a really diverse conversation about all of the options that might be there, and help walk them through some ideas and give them some ideas and see what their feelings are. And the assessment also lets us get a gauge on other interests besides just water, because it started out as a water thing, and we're hoping that it'll be a well-rounded, holistic thing, so that when we've talked to somebody, we know that now the door is open. We may do a water project with you right now, but in the future, maybe you're interested in pollinators or habitat, or maybe you're concerned about fire, and we can come back the next time we have an opportunity with some funding and help you again and have another conversation. And so it's not like a normal grant funded thing where we're like, okay, we did this, here's your report, and you're done. Hopefully it's hey, we did this and we're going to come back, and hopefully soon, and we're going to do another thing with you and another thing with you. And we really hope that, by the time that we've done all these things over many years, you feel really secure in your home and the resources that you have and what's available to you. And I don't know if I'm running out of time because that was kind of long-winded. I'm sorry. So the next couple of slides I wanted to show, actually skip forward to the next one. So this is what our assessment looks like as an example. And it's just kind of a scorecard and like, where are you at and where do you want to be? And let's just check some boxes, because that kind of helps us guide the process. Next slide. And then this is an example of, and I'm not going to say completed project because we may go back and we may do something else, but this is an example of a project that we did here in Groveland, and it was rain tanks. And that's because that's one of the things that we could fund right now. But this homeowner may do something else with us, may do a pollinator project in the future with us. Next slide. So the other thing that was really important to us when we built the project was to have some long-lasting educational tools that the RCD and hopefully people all over the state can help, jump off of and utilize to educate in the meantime, because funding is very scattered and sometimes you have it and sometimes you don't. But no matter what, even if you can't offer someone a financial incentive, we wanted to be able to educate them all the time. Like every time we have an opportunity, we want to talk to you. We want to have videos. Next slide. We built we call it the mobile water learning lab, but it's way more than water. It's mock-ups of practices that you can do, and we take it to events and you can walk through it, and we're there and we can show you like, this is how this pipe works. And this is how it has a tiny rain tank with an open door, and you can look inside and see the plumbing inside. And this is how you do this. And even if we don't have a financial incentive, we have that opportunity to educate somebody. And we also go like down to the grades, down to like third graders, and we have the augmented reality sandbox, which is Ryan's baby. And they love it. And everyone from third graders all the way up to adults love it. We took it up to Sacramento to the California Ag in the Classroom conference a few years ago, and the teachers just swarmed us. They loved it. But we can talk about watersheds and, watershed health and how water lands on a landscape and all that good stuff. So yeah, sorry, that was probably long-winded, but that's kind of what it is in a nutshell. It's very large, but it's also very holistic and hopefully something that's long-lasting.
I just want to point out, thank you for my mic. I just want to point out something I learned in the last few days from one of our steering members, Nick Weigel. Let's all take a minute and make sure that we're not apologizing anymore. Let's find a way to say thank you. And instead of saying, I'm sorry for taking so long, thank you for that time. What a shift in our world we will have. But thank you for explaining that, Lindsay, and for all the time that you are taking with us. So I really do appreciate it. I just have a couple questions.
Okay.
I mean, people at home might say, okay, well, I know that we've extended this program through the good graces that we've built off the platform with Tuolumne County Resource Conservation District. What is your thoughts on expanding this program? We know that it can work with renters. You don't have to own your home. It can work in industry. It can work on ag. It can work in these different places. Every parcel counts. Every small action adds up. So what is your thought of where taking the Land Resilience Partnership?
I have two thoughts. One, you miss the community level. We've done it at the community level now in Tweenhart, and we used the kind of the LRP model and started planning out practices that were with a school, a CSD, a park, downtown businesses, the county, and their roadway infrastructure. So yeah, it can go really tiny, it can go really big. But yeah, I think it can fit anywhere. I think wherever there's kind of a willing entity to help guide it. I am biased. I think RCDs are wonderful. And I think if there's an RCD willing to take it on, I'm happy to say, here's what we got. And let me help guide you and get it set up, and let's do it. But not every place has an RCD that's very active or that has the capacity to take that on. So I think if there's not, it could easily be something that like a nonprofit does. It could be something that another like CSD does. Yeah, I think,
How
I think
about
it has.
a water agency?
I think a water agency could do it. My only hesitance might be that, the beauty of RCDs is that we are non-regulatory. And we traditionally are someone that a landowner comes and works with and has a safe space with. That was how we got started years ago. I think if it's a water agency that is, very open to this kind of idea and willing to work with all kinds of landowners, I think that would be wonderful.
Water district?
Or water districts, sorry, yes.
I think there are, full disclosure, I think the program has grown, the
Mhm.
baby's left the nest. And I know there are some water districts that have adopted this program.
Yeah.
And to work with their current incentive programs, it does fit.
Yeah.
If you've already got a direct technical assistance program for fire, pollinator, water, lawn restoration, it can fit and add value to it. It can take some of the capacity load, which
Mhm.
I think is so brilliant, the way that it's kind of come together.
Yeah.
So are there any other last thoughts? What do you want people to know about the Land Resilience Partnership before we?
I think it's very applicable in all places. That was our goal when we built it. And I might be biased, but I think that it works in all places. And I think it's something that can be kind of spearheaded by different agencies or different organizations in different places. And I like to think of it as a project you do with a homeowner that's an open door to continue to have relationships with them. It's not a project in the traditional sense that you've done it and you're done. It's a project in that you start that relationship and hopefully you keep working with them over and over, even if it's not a financial incentive, even if it's just to help guide them in a project they want to do.
You came up with the term partnership. It's a long-term partnership.
It's a long-term
It's
partnership.
a long-term partnership. I also want to call out the original name of the website is the Water Toolkit. Here's that word again, .org. I think if you search it on your URL, we're just finalizing some changes. There'll be calculators.
Yep.
There will be reference material. All these tools in the toolkit will be described
Mhm.
with their conditions. It will work with other toolkits from other areas. And so this can be a clearinghouse for information or just work with other groups. So watertoolkit.org, I think it's just, I want to make sure as we move into the toolkit and start to capture some information. So the toolkit is, again, some physical tools and solutions that we're going to do around our houses, around our businesses, on our lands, right? To help create and catalyze change in our communities and build community and watershed health and community health. That is the actual toolkit, but we also have some programmatic pieces as well. I just want to
Mhm.
make sure we're not, it's not going to happen just by putting that shovel in the ground. We do need to open doors and use the correct lenses and have a community take this on from their own sense of place.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the drivers, I think, is that it can come in to a community and the community can adopt it. We're going to transition just a little bit. We're going to go into an interactive space. And this is where, again, the forum, we want to hear from you about this toolkit approach. What are you doing in your own work, in your own business, in your own home? What are you doing in your organization? The list of tools I know was difficult to read, but we're going to give you a link to a mural board. And those of you who don't know what a mural board is, it's a way for you to write your ideas and capture them. And so we're going to go to it. Oh, thanks so much. We're showing it right now. Now we have the healthy, resilient image schematic right in the middle to remind you, to kind of jog some thinking. We're going to ask you over the next few minutes what your comments and thoughts are. What tools are you using? And again, those could be shovel-ready tools, what should be included, or programmatic needs that you have to have for your community. And we really, again, we want to build out and hear what is your perspective on the toolkit, what works for you, what are the rules of the road here? for you to be right with gratitude. Please try to keep it to the tool, and whether it's shovel ready or programmatic. And if you can put a little bit of why, the why that works for your community would be helpful. So again, that link's going to be active the rest of the day, but we're going to actually dive into it in just a minute. I do want to just thank some of our sponsors really quick before we move any further. And without, I know I brought some of them up before, but I'm just going to stand up when I do this. The steering committee for localizing California waters has really been a sponsor of all of this conversation for the last few years. They've come together. Last year during COVID, we had to cancel our annual meeting, but we did take the time to start to build towards regional resilience. And those conversations have really helped us understand more closely what the Localizing California Waters movement can do for you and your communities. The Localizing California Waters Steering Committee also has partially self-funded this conversation here today. So thank you to our steering committee. Thank you to Department of Water Resources for funding a lot of the tools and the toolkit and the information that is going into some of this work, as well as the Wildlife Conservation Board through its work in the respective Ventura County Resource Conservation District grants and other funding that comes through its doors. Some of those videos were jointly produced by both agencies. Tuolumne County Resource Conservation District, thank you for sponsoring, as well as the Ventura County Resource Conservation District. Thank you to Ventura River Water District for also being a part of some of these tools. The City of Ojai, Senior Canyon Mutual Water Company, Thatcher School in Ojai, as well as Creek Lands Conservation. And I'm looking at my list so I don't miss any here. Dun, 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 dun. There's so many good sponsors. And we also have the Tulalip Foundation. So thank you to the Tulalip Foundation.